You've tamed the voices in your head. You've put your courage to the test. Laid all your doubts to rest.
Everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Intuitive Queens podcast from your intuition queen. Okay, so let's go on with the series of colors, and today we're talking about the color blue, which I think falls in perfectly, and I promise I didn't plan this, but the reason for this is because this week on Friday, I will know if Intuitive Queens podcast has won the award from my coaching academy, the Beautiful You. There is an award ceremony on Friday, and I have applied to submit my podcast, and I am one of the finalists for the podcast. I don't know if I will win the award, but just being one of the finalists for me, it's such an amazing opportunity, and I am so grateful. So why did I say that this falls perfectly, and why did I link the podcast? Well, the color blue in color therapy, it's a color related to communication, and not just in color therapy, even with Reiki, it's a color related to communication. In color therapy, it's also related to if you have this energy in your color chart, you will have this pull to do something worthwhile for your community. And your community could be your family, your neighborhood, your church, your whatever community that is for you. For me, my community is the one that I'm building with my business, and therefore the one that I'm building with my podcast. And I feel this is perfect because being blue, the color related to the voice, to sharing your voice, to use your voice, to communicate something important. This is what I've been doing. This has been the reason why I started this podcast, which was to give voice to other women at the beginning, to other people at the beginning, because I also had a couple of men, where they could share their story in order to empower and inspire whoever was listening. This has changed a little bit over the time. I started to do solo episodes and share my knowledge, share my stories. And this has been the reason I did this. And I know some of you have reached out to tell me how the stories in the podcast have been helpful for you. And I am truly, truly grateful. So that I want to win this award or not, I feel like I have completely embodied the energy of blue, even though blue it's not one of the colors that I have in my color chart. Anyway, but let's talk about what it means to have blue in color therapy in your color chart. So as I said, this is the energy of wanting to do something worthwhile for your community. And as I mentioned, it doesn't necessarily need to be a big thing. It can be your family, it could be a group of friends, it could be people in your building. But you probably are a person that feels the need to always figure out how to create something important, how to organize something. Let's say right now it's a very critical and really ugly moment in our history, considering what's going on between Russia and Ukraine. So you might feel called to help the people of Ukraine. So you might be that kind of person that goes around your office being like, hey, if you have clothes, if you have this, if you can donate money, if you can, I know someone, or I can figure something out in order to help someone else. Doesn't have to be for something so important. It can just be your energy to want to be at service for someone else. This might be strong within you. And it doesn't matter where you have it in your chart. This is something that you will come across throughout your life. Of course, if this comes in your life mission, you have a process to go through if this is what you are meant to do. But if you have this feeling where maybe what you're doing it's not enough, maybe the job that you have doesn't actually help you to help others, then this is something you might want to explore. You might want to start doing as a side, and you might want to start doing as a hobby in order for you to get attuned to this energy, because I'm pretty sure this is going to come easy for you to understand how to move forward. And if this is something that you feel should do to change your life, then I would suggest go for it, because this energy is really, really important. It's also a very intuitive color because it connects your spiritual and your mind with your heart and with all the lower part of your body and with the material part of your body. Blue, it's a very intuitive color. As we move up above in our body, we start to get into that part of our body that is extremely connected to your intuition, to your source, to God, whatever, however applies that for you. Use the one that applies for you. But this is if you have this color in your chart, you have a very deep inner knowing. It's that kind of intuition that doesn't need explanation, because sometimes there is an explanation. You just know it, and you don't necessarily need to find evidence to explain to other people. This, unfortunately, in the world we live in, can be very tricky, especially if, let's say, you are working for someone and you have this intuitive knowing that you should take a road rather than another, you should do something rather than another, but you struggle to explain to the person that has to make the decision why. So if this is something that happens to you when you have this deep knowing and you're not able to explain this to anybody, you just know. But when you need to relate to other people, this becomes something you struggle to do or you avoid to do. I would suggest to practice this within you when you can, with the people you can, so that you can find ways to eventually find some evidence in order to help the other person to make a decision. I know that I don't have blue, but I am extremely intuitive, as you probably know. And I know that oftentimes when I come across people that are extremely analytical and that have a different opinion about what intuition is and how it works and how you should be using it, I need to find different ways to explain what I feel, because it's no longer acceptable for them to be like, to hear me saying, well, look, this is how I feel, and I feel this is where we should be going, or I feel this from this person, and I don't know, be careful. This is not enough for them. And I have found my ways to produce evidence in a way so that those people can actually understand what I'm saying. Now, it doesn't happen with everybody, and you have to learn to be a little bit discerning on when it's something that makes sense to do and when it's not. Some people just don't want to understand this, cannot understand this, and that's okay. You don't have to push it. But if this is something important for you and you are facing people like this, then using it with you and with the people that actually understand that you just know stuff and they accept you for that, it's a good exercise to practice with them, even if they don't ask you for evidence, so that you learn what's the best way to communicate something that for you it's just there and it's difficult to find explanation. But sometimes this is important and helpful when you're dealing with other people, because luckily we're all very different from one another. Just don't shy away from using your intuition if you come across those kind of people. You just have to know who to talk about certain things or not. I learned to do that because I had so many friends when I was in London that were more analytical than intuitive, and I had to learn to explain this, but also at work. So just don't stop to use your intuition just because people don't understand it. Okay, so this color, in blue in color therapy, is also a color that wants you to master your thoughts. Why is that? We pretty much find it easier to stay on the negative side. I mean, like, not everybody. I am extremely positive. I understand the power of thoughts. And every time I feel in a certain way or start thinking a certain way, I've learned to switch my mind. The mind and your thoughts are the one that will affect your emotions. And when your emotions are affected, then it's difficult to get out of some negative cycle. So for your intuition to really pop out and really help you to do what you want to do and to help other people, you really have to learn to be positive. You really have to learn to catch yourself when you're thinking negative. Now, it's difficult, and it's not that you need to learn to never, ever, ever have negative thoughts, because this is just not possible. But oftentimes, and you will know it, when something happens to us or when we feel in a certain way, it is very easy, especially when we're dealing with other people or with situations that might not be going in the way we want to. It's very easy to start to either criticize ourselves, criticize the situation, the person, and start to go into that negative spiral, why things don't happen to us, or why they happen to us in a certain way, why this or that, and start to go down that rabbit hole where everything is gray and dark and black, and there is no light at the end of the tunnel. It can happen. Now, with this color, what you really need to tune into is yourself. I believe that thoughts are there to help you understand where you have limiting beliefs or where you have patterns that keep on coming back. So just watch your thoughts and learn to practice the opposite. So if something happens to you, for example, where you feel like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot, I should have done this, this would have not happened if I behaved in this way, I want you to stop. I want you to think about something blue. I want you to connect to the blue energy. I want you to go out and have a walk and start thinking about and reframing your thoughts. And instead of calling yourself an idiot, just say to yourself, okay, next time I'm gonna do better. This time went this way, there is a reason for it. Next time I will do better because I've learned from this lesson. It's a matter of understanding when we can improve ourselves. There is always room for improvement, and this is where the energy of blue comes into play, because it wants us to learn to stay more focused on the good things that we have, the good things that we are bringing to the world, the good things that are within us. We all have good things. It doesn't matter. You can be in a really negative moment of your life, but I promise you, because I've been through that many times, and there's always something positive you can think of. So gratitude is a great way to start. Start being grateful for what you have, who you are, and where you're at. Even if you want to change everything in your life right now, it doesn't matter. There is always something better to come in. And there is always a reason why sometimes we get into those negative moments of our lives. They're only there to help us change something that no longer works for us. So when you have this color in your chart, this is really a call to be the best version of yourself, to really be tuned in into your body, your mind, your spirit, and use all of the part of you for the highest good, your highest good and the highest good of other people. This is a true calling for you to do something worthwhile for yourself, and get that reward that we all want to have when we help other people. It comes back to us all the times. I wouldn't be doing this job if it wasn't this way. If you don't have blue in your color chart, this color pops up when in your energy field. So I explained this to you, but I'm going to do it again in case you've missed the episodes where I talked about it. When I do a color therapy session, either that we do it for the first time, and so the first time will be for me to tell you what are your colors, because we all have specific colors. It's a little bit like when you do an astrology reading and they tell you you're a sun sign like this is your rising, this is where your Mercury is. That's how it works for me in color therapy. You could potentially have 4 different colors or colors that repeat, and they talk about your energy, and I give you a map of your energies from when you're born to your life mission, and how you can use those energies and their tendency, the tendency of the colors that you have in the best way, because you might have positive and negative tendencies. So this is what happens when we do the color therapy session for the first time. But if you work with me more, either booking color therapy sessions later on, or if you work with me on a program, what happens is that I will always tune into your energy to figure out what's going on with you from an energetic point of view. And this happens when I do the color therapy session the first time, or when I do it afterwards. I can see colors that pop up in your energy field. And when different colors from your colors pop up in your energy field, there is always a message. They always communicate something to me, which are related to the reason why we're working together. And then I get messages and understand why something is happening to you. So we will be talking about it, and you can obviously tell me if that resonates with you or not. And we can then have a plan on to see how to release maybe something. Normally, when a color pops up in your energy field, it's because there is something that wants to be seen and wants to be released. It could be an old pattern, it could be a behavior, it could be something that you think. There is a theme always. So when blue pops up in your energy field, you really need to learn to master your thoughts. As I said, this is a color of communication. And the way you communicate, the energy that you put out there, it's the energy that comes back to you, right? So this is something that we know. If you know anything about energies, if you've been following me, you know this is something that I always talk about. So when this color pops up in your energy field, there is a part of yourself that is disconnected from yourself. And we start with the mind. The way our mind works can help us feeling connected or disconnected. So if this color pops up in your energy field, it is likely that you need to learn to release old patterns, and you need to learn to be more positive. And you really need to learn to tune into your feelings. And understand why they're there, what they're trying to tell you, so that you can change your mindset. It's about mindset. I don't think we can always be positive. As much as I am a super positive person, but I have my tendencies of going into the negative spiral sometimes, because things happen to us, because we're made how we're made, right? The important thing is that allowing yourself to feel what you need to feel, and also think what you need to think, but then also understand that, okay, you can change that. There is always a way for you to change that. Instead of continuously for the whole day to maybe think about something, it's important to change that. So this is something that can happen when this color pops up in your energy field. This color is also a color related to healing. Blue, it's a color related to healing. So if you think about using your voice, in order for you to use your voice, you need to release any feeling, any emotion, any thoughts related to repression. As a woman, and as women listening and watching, we have this energy within us that, we want it or not, we can be super in tune with ourselves, but the energy of repression is there because women have been repressed for so many years. So this energy is probably going to be in your female line, your mother, your grandmother, your great grandmother, and so on. People like me that work in the spiritual business, we have this energy popping up most of the times, which is asking us to be released. Now, for example, if you take me as an example, what I am doing is exactly what this color is asking about, to break the pattern of repression, and therefore use my voice to talk about holistic things, spiritual things, to talk about breaking patterns, to talk about changing your life, to help women, and not only women, because I know there are men watching and listening, and I've been working with quite a few men lately. There is this energy within them as well. So this color really is about breaking that pattern of repression. So if you have it in your color chart, this is the thing that you need to go through and you need to work on in order to break free from those. If this pops up in your, if blue pops up in your energy field, then there is something that needs to be broken off. And it's about repression. It could be coming from your family, it could be coming from maybe a behavior that you have at work. It doesn't matter, depending on what we're working on. But if this color, if blue pops up in your energy field, it's because you need to break this cycle and you need to start speaking your truth. You need to start using your power. You need to stop being afraid of what people say, what people think of you, and what's going to happen. Oftentimes, we don't say what we want to say. We don't speak our truth. We do not use our authenticity because we are afraid we might lose someone, we might upset someone, or if in case of work, we might lose our job, we might not get promoted, we might be cast aside because we're saying what our boss doesn't want us to say because maybe it's true. I've been in those positions before. When I was in London, I was the one that was always very vocal, and I made the mistake to be the vocal because everybody was coming to me saying, oh yeah, Mara, we agree with you. Yes, you need to say, and then they wouldn't back me up because they were afraid. And I was never afraid, but that stopped me from getting a promotion and things like this because my boss did not want to handle someone that will speak her truth so much that then he had to do something about it. And I learned this the hard way, and I learned to speak my truth in a way that would not come back at me, which sometimes is not so possible. This is also one of the reasons why I started my business, because I was tired to work for people that would not understand my value, but also did not even want to do anything. So you might find yourself in these situations with family, with friends, at work. Learn to understand how to speak your truth without harming yourself, and also learn to understand when sometimes you just need to let people go. A lot of the times people don't want to hear truth. They prefer to live in a lie. They prefer to just not say anything that have a confrontation, that clarify things. And there is nothing you can do about it if the person you're dealing with thinks this way. It's about understanding who you want to be surrounded by. And the more you're going towards your spiritual process of awakening, the more you will realize that you no longer want to be surrounded by people that shy away from this, that want to keep things, hidden. You will start to want to speak your truth and be your true self and be authentic and be surrounded by people that are the same. So if you're going through this process, congratulations. I think this is amazing. It might be hard because it might mean that you're going to release a lot of people from your side or your circle of friends and family, but you're not alone. Just remember that you're not alone. This is a beautiful process that when you start to get through that, you will see yourself so differently, and you will feel so much better about being your true self, that you will see it was worthwhile to lose some people because you will gain other people in your life. I promise you that, because I went through this, and I always think that there is a moment in life where everything changes and the things around you need to change. Don't worry about it. You will meet new people. Think about a snake. A snake at some point needs to release its skin and shed its skin, right? And this is the process that we will go through at some point, more times in our lives. When I moved to Italy, and when I moved back to Italy last year, I came back to no friends or a couple, but I had to kind of rebuild my network of friendships, real, like face-to-face friendship, not online. Online, I know so many people, but you know, after 2 years staying at home, you kind of want to see people live, right? And so this was for me a natural process to go through in order to improve myself, evolve myself. So don't feel lonely, don't feel alone. Reach out to a community online. Reach out to me if you feel like you are in this process. I will be so happy to have a chat with you and maybe help you through this, because this is something I went through a few times in my life, and it's a refreshing process. Although when you're actually going through this, it doesn't feel like that. So I understand the pain, and I understand feeling lost. But this is a beautiful moment where you can actually start to see and plan what you want, who you want to, how do you want to feel, what kind of people you want to be surrounded by, and start to call them in. And how do you do that? You tune into the color blue, and you learn to master your thoughts, and you tune into your intuition. This is the perfect color to do this. The color blue can pop up often with spiritual entrepreneurs at the beginning of their journey. I had a few people on the podcast, a few guests on the podcast, talking about coming out of the spiritual closet, which means start to tell your family, your friends, and your social platforms that you are, for example, a tarot reader, that you do intuitive sessions, that you see things, that you are an astrologer, that you do spiritual things, that you see spirituality in a way that is different from religion. And you might do things that your family or the people around you don't necessarily understand. And so this color can pop up in their energy field, because they are starting to use their voice to shine a light. But at the same time, there is still fear not to be accepted or to be rejected by people that used to be our group of friends and family up until that moment. It can pop up in the fear of going live, for example. It can pop up in the fear of not knowing how to share what you know. And this is not because you don't have enough knowledge. And most of the times, when you decide to start this journey as an entrepreneur in the spiritual field, you have been doing this for a while. You've been doing this behind closed doors before. Maybe you've been learning and reading, you've been practicing certain things with certain people, maybe with friends that you knew would not tell you anything, that would actually appreciate what you were doing, but you didn't talk about this with other people. So you didn't share this with the majority of the people you know. And so when you start to maybe your business, we all know that now everything it's about social media. So going live in a Facebook group, or your Facebook group, or starting a podcast, for example, like this. When you start to share your voice, either that is on video or just audio or just writing things about it, your fear can pop up, because as I said earlier, it's a fear of repression, but also because you might be afraid to be rejected by the people that you know. Certain topics are still controversial for a lot of people. I work a lot with spiritual entrepreneurs that come from extremely strict religious families. And this energy is always there, this fear of shining your light bright and not feeling like there is something missing or there is something blocking. It's always there. Because even if we are out there, we are super enthusiastic about what we're doing, we're super happy, and we have this really strong calling to do it. On a subconscious level, there are fears that we need to go through and we need to release, but we need to allow them to come to the surface. So this is what happens when you come to do a color therapy session. This can help you to make your fear pop up so that you can actually see it, and then you can actually work to release them. This is something that happens a lot. Our society has told us how to live in so many ways, our religion, our family, and so we have so much that we need to peel off from our core. And therefore, especially when you start a profession in the healing business, in the spiritual business, you will go through this. So this color can come through in your color reading and in your energy field, especially if you're going through this moment. And if this is something that is happening to you and you feel stuck and you feel like this push and pull of your soul wanting you to come out of the closet, to use your voice, to share your knowledge, to do what you're doing because you need to live in purpose. But at the same time, then you have these fears, and those fears where you don't know how to do it, you don't know if people will accept you, what people will think of you, if you will get clients. Then please, let's have a chat. You can book a free consultation. I don't want you to stop from being your true self just because of those fears. Those fears are absolutely normal. You just have to see where they come from, so then you can release them. And I promise you, because I've gone through this myself and I work with so many amazing people that go through this, and it's always very difficult to break through. But we're probably the black sheep of our families, the ones that are here to break the ancestral patterns and the old limiting beliefs. We're also in a time where so much is changing on an energetic level. We're being called to do this. So if you're feeling too fearful to step ahead and do what you're here to do, give me a call, please. Get in touch. Let's see what can be done. Even if I can just give you one word of encouragement, and I hope this is, that would be enough. We need more people awakening to their power, to their gift, to the spiritual world, in order to help more people. So if this is you, please get in touch. hello@theintuitionqueen.com. Send me an email, or send me a message through Instagram, The Intuition Queen, please. And all the details are in the show notes. So you just have to click. I'd rather you talk to me for a little bit than you stop doing what you're meant to do. This is so powerful and so important. Another reason why blue can pop up in your energy field is because you're not working towards your soul purpose. Now, I spoke about people that might be in between, where you're doing things, but then you feel this push and pull. But there are also people that feel the call, feel the messages, hear the messages of their soul, their intuition, but they're still not doing it. They're just too paralyzed by fear, or they just don't know what that means. And so this is your soul asking you to start doing things towards your soul purpose. You might not know what that is. You might have no idea. You might feel like it's too broad, or what you feel doesn't make sense. But this is a call for you to start doing something. And I'm pretty sure your intuition has been giving you messages. It's just about learning to decode the messages of your intuition and start taking action. Sometimes a little step is enough in order for you to take another step. It doesn't, what I want you to say is that you don't have to have it figured out straight away. We don't have it figured out across a certain path. Like, I don't have everything figured out. Things have been changing for me so much over the last year that it wasn't in my plan. things always change. It's impossible to have everything figured out. When you're starting to feel the messages of your soul, you just have to follow your intuition and just just step into the unknown, because things will get clearer to you as you go, but you need to take the first step. So if this is you, again, get in touch, because I'm pretty sure your color therapy reading will tell you so much more. You will get so much more clarity about your energies and what those energies are telling you. Those colors, every color that you have in your color chart says so much about you, but it talks also about your purpose, the energies you need to use in your life, the energy you came up with in this lifetime. And those energies talk so much about what you could possibly do in your life. So if this is something you've been struggling with, that you have this calling but you don't know what to do, get in touch. I would suggest booking a color therapy session, because I promise you, you will get so much clarity, and then you can take steps towards it, little steps. And I am absolutely sure that you will get back to me in a few months' time being like, hey, I started doing this and I feel this is where I need to go. So I'm just putting out there, if this is what you feel, this is where you're at, I suggest you book a color therapy session. Just book it, and I will be so thrilled to help you move forward and take the first step towards your soul purpose. I'm just so excited. All right, let's move on to blue as the chakra of our throat. So blue in Reiki, it's related to the chakra of our throat. And as I said, this is speaking your truth. This chakra, it really is about trusting ourselves deeply, owning our power, and making choices that we know deep inside they're good for us, no matter what other people think of us, no matter what society says about what a woman or a man or whatever gender you are or you feel you are, you should be. It doesn't matter. It's about listening to our intuition, listening to our soul, be like, okay, this is where I want to go, and this is the step I'm going to be taking. And I will do it no matter what people say about me. So this is like true inner power. It's true personal authority, because you have faith. You have this deep self-knowledge about yourself that allows you to stay strong and just push through whatever you know to be true. When I started this path, it was a step after one step. At the beginning, I didn't really know what was happening. It was just for me. I was doing it because it was making me feel good. But the moment I decided this was going to be my life, this is what I wanted to do, I had a lot of people telling me, and the first one was my mother, telling me, but how are you going to do this? Now, for example, that I am back here in Italy, people are more skeptical about what I do. And the first thing that they ask me is like, do you have a degree in psychology? I'm like, no, I don't have a degree in anything. Like, I didn't go to university. Oh, so how do you do this? I'm like, I took a course in the academy, 6 months with the Beautiful You Coaching Academy. It's an Australian academy. It's, recognized worldwide, blah, blah, blah. And you can see how people are kind of skeptical. And then I start talking, and then I start saying certain things, and like, you kind of know what you're talking about. I'm like, yes, I do. But I don't get scared by those people anymore. I used to think that I had to have some sort of crazy certification in order to be taken seriously. But this is not what everything it's all about. What you know deep inside, it's the best certification you can have. Your intuition doesn't need a certification, let me tell you. It doesn't. What you know deep inside is for your unique purpose, and it's the right thing for you to do, to be, and to follow. So don't let people and people's fears and people projecting their fear or their limiting beliefs on you, especially when you know that what you're about to do thing be, especially when you know that what you're about to do, it's good for you. You have to tune into your feeling. If it feels good for you, it doesn't matter what other people think about it. It really doesn't. And if it makes you feel better not to say anything to anybody, don't. I have chosen the people in my life that know my next steps, and I have stopped telling other people. Like, my mom doesn't know anything, because the less she knows, the better it is. She just doesn't understand it. She thinks this is foolish. She thinks it's a waste of time. So I just don't talk about it. I don't need her approval. I got to a point where I feel I don't need her approval to be myself and to do what I'm here for. I know this is my purpose, and I know my purpose is going to change over time, but I know this is where I'm supposed to be and what I am supposed to be doing. So if you are at this point, this is what this chakra is about. Getting to a point where you do not need anybody's approval in order for you to be yourself, because you just are enough. And I'm going to say this again. You are enough as you are. You need nobody's approval. And I hope you can repeat this more and more time every time you feel like you need someone's approval. You don't. If your intuition tells you, if your soul tells you, if your heart tells you that what you're about to do, what you're feeling, it's right, listen to it. That is you telling you the right thing to do. There is nobody else that can know what's best for you aside from you. Okay, I think you should sign this. You should write this somewhere. So when this chakra is balanced, it's about, mastering your thoughts and following your heart. Just what I said to you. So if you're in alignment, you're not going to care about what people think or say. You're not going to care about losing certain people, losing certain situations, because you're going towards a better path, towards a better situation, towards better friendships, towards a better lover, towards better in your life. If you're not balanced with this chakra, then of course you're gonna be surrounded by fear, and that's when the energy of repression will probably be within you, because you will start to repress yourself. You will start to not say what you want to say. You will not speak your truth because you're afraid of what other people will say. You are afraid of what's gonna happen if you do. You are afraid of losing people, situations, things. And so this chakra really is asking you to have faith in you, in the universe, your God, or whatever applies for you, and have faith that what you feel within you, it's right. So this is like real connection with yourself. When you trust yourself, when you have faith within yourself, and you follow your heart, your intuition, then you are on the right track. Even if you don't know where you're going, there are a lot of moments. There are going to be moments in your life where everything changes around you. I've been feeling in a continuous transition from since I moved back to Italy, and I stopped worrying about it. At some point, I stopped thinking, okay, this is how my business has to go. This is how my life has to go, and I stopped giving myself timings on when things were supposed to happen, because I realized that the only thing that I could possibly do in order for me to change my situation was to trust and listen to my intuition and continue to use my voice to share my message and stand in my own power and speak my truth and say what I wanted to say to the people that I had to say when it was the right time. And I can tell you, as much as I've been doing this for a little while and I am here to help you do this, I also go through fears and situations where I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. But it's when I say to myself I shouldn't, then I catch myself saying this and like, no. And that's probably the reason why I will do this. it takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of work on yourself. I had to work on so much limiting belief and energies that I needed to release from myself. But when you get to this point is when you are true to yourself. And when you're true to yourself, everything will come into place, even if you're struggling right now to see this. But I promise you, because I've gone through this a couple of times in my life, and I can tell you with certainty that this is what it is. All right. So the last thing that I want to say is that to be in alignment with this chakra and all of your chakras, if you've been listening to me from the series started with the red, in order for you to be in alignment with your chakra, you need to have emotional stability and mental stability. So aligning your chakra, your heart chakra, with your mind, this will allow you to feel safe. And when we feel safe, when that's the power. That's the power that we need. We need to feel safe within ourselves. And as I was saying earlier, at that point, you can just do and be whoever you want. Who cares about what other people think, right? And of course, we don't want to hurt the people that we love. But what I'm talking about here is not being yourself because you want to hurt people. You don't want to hurt people. You know, oftentimes the people that we love are the ones that are projecting on ourselves their limiting beliefs, their fears. And when that happens, we might have a tendency to stop being ourselves and doing our things. And this doesn't do any service to anybody. It doesn't do any good to you because you're repressing yourself. And it doesn't do any good to them because when you express yourself, you allow them to also change and see things differently. So think about this when you feel like you don't want to do something that you know it's good for you and it's good for your highest good, because you think that you will hurt other people. In not being true to yourself, you're hurting everybody, yourself and the people around you. And it doesn't serve anyone. You might go through a moment of revolution because things around you might get into chaos. But chaos is there to release what doesn't serve you and to readjust things in a way that will be more aligned to you. And so if you go through a moment where you're, say, having confrontation with the people that you love, I was talking about coming out of the closet in whichever, it doesn't have to be, you know, even if you come out of the closet being like, oh, I'm not this gender, or I'm not the person that you thought I was, oh, I'm going to be doing this with my life, or I'm not going to, you know, whatever situation that you think you need to stay in order to avoid chaos around you. Sometimes we really need to turn that around and speak our truth, say it as it is, allow the chaos to start going into our life so that at some point, everything that doesn't belong to us, everything that it's not there for our good, will be removed. And after the chaos, there is, you know, the calm, and things readjust in a way that are more aligned to us. We need to go through this process, especially when we have repressed ourselves for so long. It's important. And I know that your soul is calling you to do if this is your situation. All right. As usual, I have 3 questions for you. If you want to journal about this, if you want to understand where you're at and how you can move forward. You're always very welcome to let me know what comes up from these questions. If you want to share them with me, feel free to do it. I'll be happy to read what popped up for you and give you some insights on how you might be able to move forward. All right, so the first question is, do you have control over your willpower, or other people have control over it? This is what I was talking about. If you make decisions based on what you feel is right for you, or oftentimes you don't do something and you do something else to avoid disappointing, to avoid having an argument, to avoid confrontation, whatever that could be. Be honest with yourself in this. You know, there is no judgment. We all have our lives, and we all have to release things, and we are what we are. So this is just for you to understand where you're at. And when you write it down, it kind of becomes more real. You kind of see things as they really are rather than as you think they are. The second question is, are you able to express yourself honestly and openly when you need to? And if not, why? As I said, be honest with yourself. Oftentimes, the reason why we don't make the right decision for us, it's because we don't want to be honest with ourselves. Sometimes it's very painful to say to ourselves, oh, let's say you've been in a long relationship for a lot of years, and you thought this person was the love of your life, and then you realize that you're no longer in love with this person, but you don't want to admit that to yourself because you had this dream and you keep wanting to think that maybe it's just a moment, but this moment has been going on for years. Or you just want to leave your job, but you just don't want to admit to yourself that maybe the career you've been having for so many years is no longer the one that you want to have, and you feel called to do something completely different, but there's always a but, right? And sometimes the first people we need to be honest with, it's ourselves. And from that point, then we can slowly take steps towards freeing ourselves from what doesn't serve us anymore, from the person we no longer are. This is another thing. We often stay trapped in the person we thought we were, but we evolve. Even if we don't want to, we will always evolve. Things change, life goes on, things happen around us that causes us to change anyway. And sometimes we feel like it's more comfortable to behave like we used to rather than figure out the next way to behave and the more aligned way to behave to the person that we are and we are becoming. So this is a great question to figure out where you're at in this moment. And the third question is, are you able to sense when you're receiving guidance to act upon it, or do you need proof? And this is what I was mentioning at the beginning of the podcast. Do you trust yourself enough to follow your guidance, or are you afraid that people will not accept you and you go look for proof, and if you cannot find it, you don't follow your intuition? It's not because your intuition is wrong. Sometimes, especially if you have blue in your color chart, this is just is your intuition. It just, whatever comes through, it is right. And the way for you to know it's how you feel. Check how you feel. If you feel like relieved, if you feel it's right, if you feel good, your intuition is right. If you feel restricted, then it's really not your intuition talking to you. You might want to check that. All right. I hope those questions have been helpful. Do let me know if you want to get some insights on what popped up for you. I hope this is going to help you to release some of the stuff that no longer serve you, to connect to your intuition more, and to just, step into your true self and raise your voice and use your voice and be who you need to be. All right. So as usual, I'm going to pull a card. And again, from the Chakra Love, I love this deck. It's so pretty. And I think it's important to know more about ourselves. It's colorful, obviously. All right. So what does my audience need to know about the color blue in card therapy and the topic related to the chakra, throat? What's the message that we all need to hear at the end of this episode about the color blue? What's the message that we need to hear? Oh, we got it. So third eye chakra, fluorite, destiny. Follow your instincts. They lead to the truth. All right. So this is the chakra in the color after the blue. And we were talking about this color. I will be talking about this color next week. But as I said, everything is connected. We just want to live and speak our truth. And in order for you to do this, you really need to connect to your intuition. And as I said, master your thoughts. Okay, thank you so much for listening, for watching. I hope this episode has been helpful for you. feel free to get in touch with me. If you want to just go and book a color therapy session, feel free to do it. Just go to my website, theintuitionqueen.com, go to intuitive sessions, and you will find the color therapy session there. You just have to click and book the reading. And yeah, and let's have fun together. If you want to get in touch with me for anything else, maybe because you just want to ask me questions, or because you've been journaling and things have popped up for you, you can message me at hello@theintuitionqueen.com. I'll be honored to give you insights. You can also book a free consultation. You can email me if you want to book a free consultation, or you can just go to my website and book it from there, and I'll be happy to have a quick chat with you and see if I can help you, if you want to do something and just have an understanding what's going on with you. You can find me on Instagram, The Intuition Queen, and you can join my Facebook group, Discover Your True Colors. Everything is in the show note. I'll be happy to have you in my group, talk about colors more, energies, human design. There's so much I'm going to be sharing to help you release patterns and move forward. I want everybody to break free from any limitations that have been put upon us and that we put upon us, because I want everybody to live authentically like the blue wants us to live. All right, thank you so much for watching and listening. Feel free to share this episode with anybody that might feel need to hear this. Subscribe. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you next week. Ciao.
Your future's at the